Okay, just want to kind of share with you some things that I've kind of a new point of view, kind of a new some, and I think there's some new understanding. I got some new understanding about politics in this country that I live in, America, um, and it kind of goes in line with some things I've been looking at and everything else. So what I realized was that you got to take this with a grain of salt. It's a work in progress. I think there's some real truth in what I'm saying. There's also probably some stuff that's off base and a little bit misguided and misinformed. But I'm just a regular guy, so you have to take you have to take the insights or whatever because I think there are some along with some other stuff you're gonna go, oh God, he doesn't know about that. Sorry, but for whatever it's worth, here it is, and that is that the United States, as we all know, is a lot of things and a lot of good things too. But one of the things that kind of preoccupies everybody these days is like the materiality of the place. Boy, and of course it happens all over the world. But there's we're kind of watching something kind of get stronger and be more dominant, and kind of a watershed kind of moment where things are really getting a certain way. So we see things, because they're changing, and so we notice things. And so what I was realizing today is that, see, the people, you know, there's a group of people in this country that the material forces, the materiality, the material kind of urge, or the material aspect of their lives is quite successful, you might say, and very strong. And And so we're just going to say material beings. They're material beings. Of course, maybe there's more to it than that. Some are kind of partly material and this and everything. But we're just, for the purposes of being simple, we're going to say they're material beings. And so in the material world, they make the grade. In other words, because and of course this is just my kind of point of view or understanding or whatever you might want to say, but a work in progress. But I would see the material beings and the people in this world that are kind of mostly aligned with the material beings and kind of get into that, are they kind of this is their world. They rule this world, and they're in charge of it. They get to be, a lot of times, well, they have big actions here, and the poor human beings that have to come here, they're mostly human. They have quite a fight from the get-go. Of course, they don't realize it at first because everybody has the human body, and you don't realize that a lot of the people around you are either kind of already been kind of something is a word, sort of taken up. They've kind of gotten themselves consigned or something to the material people. So, like you go to school, and the whole thing about school, a lot of it, it seems to be this and that, and you're learning things and everything. But really, if you'll notice, a lot of it is to be like, what kind of a possible material being are you, and could you kind of you know make the grade and become like one of the material beings that kind of runs things. So the deal is that um, there's two possibilities. One is you could become or you are one, and they're just kind of helping you along, try to find you that you are one, and the other one is that you would be a good candidate to kind of be their slave or work for them, do things for them, what they want. So you go to school, and you have to be fast and not much feeling no, um, and you have to kind of keep making the grade, do more and more stuff and things, and be really clever and smart materially about things, and particularly like mathematics and chemistry and stuff like that, physics, and or business things, the whole understanding of how the material thing works in business, and so boy, if you get going along that track, why you can go to Harvard or Yale or someplace, and you might just kind of be a new material. Most of the material people, a lot of the material people are already have lots of money. They always seem to have a lot of money they got from. Well, they got it from slaves like us. I mean, people that weren't material, and they got them to work for them, and then they got all their money. So the guy works all his life, and like say in any given day, uh, he does some wonderful thing, and he gets maybe $100,000 for the material boss, and then but he gets like $500. So it's a great deal. They get a great make great use of all these people. Now, coming to politics, the people who run the country, um, and particularly, I don't want to kind of pick on people, but just because it fits so well, we'll talk about in our country, America, there's this group called the Republicans, and it's kind of a well-known thing that Republicans consist of, this is my opinion, so it's probably not completely correct, but it's like it's a general attitude I have, and I mean that other people also subscribe to, which is that the Republicans are mostly material beings, and so there's the hardcore group. They are the material beings. And then there are the people that are kind of their slaves, and they're kind of people that they completely won over to their point of view, materiality, and they they kind of run things. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Now, these material beings are really only interested in themselves. Other material beings, how material beings work, get more stuff and things, and how they use the slaves or other people who aren't material. They try to get them all to kind of come along and do this lots of work for them, and so that they get more stuff and things, and that's what they like to do is get more stuff and more and more and more, because the more they have, the more material they are, and that's what they like to be. So, but here's the funny thing, the reason I'm even bothering me is because I realized something about the Democrats, that I didn't realize before, because lately it's been like, well, darn, those Democrats, we thought they were a completely different group of people, but they seem to be kind of doing the same thing, and I have an explanation for that. I've realized something about why it is that the Democrats are just doing a lot of things that they're doing, and that's because see the Republicans they are the material beings, and as I say, they don't really care, and they don't care about non-material beings, human beings, vegetable beings, animal beings, things like that. They don't care about that. They care about material beings. So they run things, and every time that they get into office, why, they show who they are, because they immediately try to kind of, because, for a material being, see, if you're not a material being, you didn't make it. You showed that you didn't understand, and you weren't really able to make lots of money and do things that material beings do, and, not care and stuff like that, why, then you're just nothing really, and so they like to kind of you're kind of a bother to them. So if you don't make money for them, see, if you make money for them and you slave for them, you're middle class and everything, that's good. They like you, they'll use you, and they'll try to be careful kind of, so they don't want to completely get rid of you or anything, although they don't really think much of you, but because you're not in the club, you're not a material person. So what they do is, so once they get into office, then the poor. Now, by the poor, I mean this unfortunate group of people who not only is not material, mostly, there's exceptions to everything, but mostly not material, and also aren't much use because they're not slaving properly they're not making a lot of money for the real material beings, the Republicans and others, So they just want to get rid of them. They're just past. So they do, every time they get in office, they kind of try to say, don't, just eliminate those people. They do that. They say, well, oh, we're not going to give them any more money. Hoping they'll starve to death and things like that. And they have their whole list of reasons why they do this. But, basically, you look at what's actually happening. That's what happened. Now, the thing is that I thought was insightful, which I probably shouldn't say, but I mean, is about the Democrats. See, because I think the Democrats, they're not so, see, they're kind of like aspiring material beings. They want to be a material being, too. They want to actually, they want to kind of, a lot of, there's a bunch of them, like a fifth column, a big group of Democrats. They're really aspiring Republicans. They want to be a Republican, too. They want to win the approval of the Republicans so that they can get in and be one of those material beings. So when they get to office and everything, they suck up to the material beings and kind of go along with them, and say, yeah, that's good, sure, yeah, I see. No, I feel the same way. See, they try to kind of get into the club. And so that's why, so a lot of times the Democrats are kind of acting against the other Democrats because they they're like, as I say, a fifth column. They're sort of betraying their own group because actually they're aspiring Republicans. That's what they are. They want to be in that group too. So I've been realizing that, and so those of us who aren't material beings, we want to keep those material beings out of office as much as we can because they'll kill us if they can. If they can't kill you, they could send you off to some place where you could be killed there, or there's other possibilities. They can just regulate the living daylights out of you, so that and maybe put you in prison. Because here's the thing: see, they can get you into prison. That's good because they get those, and they have too lately. They've been doing it. They get those prisoners to make money for them. See, oh, there's the thing. They're advancing along in their processes pretty well in this country. So have lots of prisons, sure, a lot of people, and then they work there, don't they? And they make things. Then money can be made, off of all that work that they do, see? And they don't have to pay them anything, so it's pretty good. But, they kind of, they're into that, and, and, if they get some others that happen to come in and don't work or something, don't work for them, then that's okay too, because at least they're happy enough to know there's people are getting miserable or probably nothing good will come, they won't end well. And, a material being, you can't really maybe, blame them very much. They just really, well, it's, good riddance, and they weren't one of us. They don't deserve it, so, fine. Stuff like that. So that was the insight that I had today. I was thinking about, so, as they try to get you, like, so, for instance, if, for example, my son is trying to get his master's degree in political science, so he's been going over here to one of the universities in California. It's amazing, what they do. And what it turns out the reality is now. See, like, you go to college, right? You're going to go to college, you're going to learn stuff. But see, when you get to college, what do you find? You find there's a lot of material beings there. I mean, these people have lots of money. They have plenty of money. They live in a nice apartment and they drive a nice car. And, when they take their vacations, they go off to, Belusia or something, wherever they go to, and it's all just great for them. They don't really understand. It's hard. It's kind of hard, and you'll notice it in school too. See, because these material beings, they don't really understand much about human life. So for instance, when they're in class and stuff like that, and the professor asks a question, they don't ever say anything. They don't, they just remember everything mentally, and they figure out, if the professor's material, they kind of have a secret kind of resonance there, so they know what to write and everything to do. And everything. The guy says, "Yeah, the material being good, fine, pass it on. It's true. It could be one of us." See, and or could be, you know, the big guys could want him. See, he's got material capabilities and potential. So he goes to school. Now he's a resident in the state, and he's a good boy, you know, pretty bright too, and you know, a fine, upstanding, law-abiding citizen, and so on. And so he goes to school. Well, it's $9,000. It's $9,000 a semester to go over there. And so, and of course, you have to borrow the money. I mean, because poor people, you know, like people, regular people, they don't have $9,000. Where would they get it from? You know, now if they're material people, they figure out a way to get it from their parents, or parents give it to them, or they figure out ways to, you know, get other, you know. But if you're just a normal, you know, non-material type person, you're pretty much kind of out of the loop over there. And so you can't eat, and you can't find an apartment because the apartments are so expensive. They all want you to be materially just so. You have to have all these records and got to do all this stuff, and you can't just, you know, and then you can't rent an apartment just for the semester. No, you've got to rent it for the whole year. Yeah. I was kind of, you know, pushing the thing over, and I'm not sure, but you know, it strikes me because over here recently in the Silicon Valley, after the dot-com bust, you know, the bubble broke, internet startups, whoa, they hit Silicon Valley pretty hard, and I thought, well, you know, well, at least rents will come down, but no, they went up. And I don't know for sure, but I think what that is the possibility, because they always know the material beings always know it's enough time for material beings. They know there'll be plenty more come along, so they don't worry about that. What they think is they can't resist the urge to kind of like to get rid of some more of those non-material beings and raise the rent. Hang on a second. Come on in. So you know, I'm not saying that. All the you know, I'm not saying that everybody's like that, you know, and you know, I just want to point out, I mean, probably a lot of the Democrats, quite a few of them are not aspiring material beings. They don't, you know, they don't realize, because you know, the ones that are aspiring, they got, you know, they can be real two-faced about things. They can say, oh no, I believe this is. You know, they're trying to get close to. They want to get into the government so they can be close to the material beings, you know, and be part of that whole thing. You know, some of them. So, but you know, so the other ones that aren't like that, you know, they kind of been having quite a bit of problems. And they say, well, how come, you know, our Democratic Party, but then when they get in office, they just do stuff like like the Republican, like the material beings do. They just go for material stuff and don't care about these kind of things. So you know, there you go. It goes along like that. Now, okay, I kind of shifted over here. This is a little insert. I sort of shifted over here. I was talking about, you know, Republicans and this and that, and how the Democrats, some of them are kind of like, you know, aspiring Republicans. And then, you know, all of a sudden here I am, I'm talking about Obama, and kind of segued off there into a different discussion, really, about, you know, a different part of politics. And so, because really, I think I pretty much had finished, I kind of had made, you know, said whatever I was going to say about this thing I noticed, had an insight about, you know, the Republicans and the Democrats, and so that was pretty much it. But I didn't really. It's kind of abrupt because I just suddenly started talking about Obama. So let's just make a transition there and say that, you know, okay, so that's that, and now I'm going to kind of look at just a little bit, kind of another. It's a political, you know, it's a part of the political scene. Kind of look at a kind of interesting seeing which is not related to Republicans and Democrats, but is related to the character or the kind of person that we actually have as president now. And of course, yes, it deals all those material things too. But I don't get the idea, just to be fair and be honest. I still hold out. I could be duped, but I still hold out something, and I think a lot of us do. And I think it's right too. Look at Obama. He's a clean guy. He's obviously done a lot of things. He cares about people. So people in the country. See, here's what's interesting. People in the country care about people. In other words, human-like beings, human-type people. Just because you have a human body doesn't mean you have a human soul. It doesn't mean that you're a human-type person. You can have a human body, and by the way things have gone with mankind, have a material-type soul. Because of the way people are very careless about how they conceive children. And so, boy, in these kind of essence they're drawn, they get a chance to come and be in a human body. Wow, they'll jump into a chance. So they have, and over many years. And so this is getting off into more spiritual thing. But I'm just saying, okay, just forget that. But I'm just saying that. See, so when so the interesting thing is that, when you have these human beings, like those of us who are at least somewhat human and care about other people and stuff like that. And so we really, a lot of people, because they don't understand the material beings taking over, so who they are, because they're duped because people have human bodies, and so, human soul should be act like a human being. No, it's not the case, okay? It's not so, all right? That's not what's happening. What's happening is a lot of people, basically, material soul being. No, don't want that, give me that over there. Here, bring that over here. Bob, what are you doing? Give me that. Bob, material being. Higher level material beings. Now today we're going to talk about our affairs and here. Welcome. Relax. I'm going to discuss some of the broader issues. They talk any way they want, but it's all material. Material. So, trying to get to my point. So the point is that so see, because they're thinking, well, why wouldn't everybody want to have somebody who cares? But more and more, the material people who don't care, they don't care. No, they don't care. They care about things. They care about principles. I have a principle. No, that's what it is. Just not human. Those people there's more of them. So, like, if you look at the polls and everything, you look, my gosh, all the people that care, they want to be sure. Go ahead, even if Obama's not a big leader, he's a guy who cares, and he's working hard. He's doing everything he can. You have to, feel for the guy and give him some respect for trying. He's trying. He's doing everything I think he can. Maybe, gosh, maybe even who knows? I hope his health is okay. He's trying very hard. There's so many material beings that just don't care. They don't need it. So, and as I say, you call this Republicans. So right now, the Republicans, or, we're going to make this kind of thing, see if it works. See, the Republicans are material beings. Then, they're going to outvote. No, they don't want another human being in there. They don't want any more of that human stuff. Please, get us back to, our material people that don't care. That's what we want. We want people who don't care. Don't you get it? And so the Republicans say, yeah, let's get somebody in there that doesn't care, believes in principles and dead things and material stuff. America. And let's kill everybody, that kind of. So, and I'm kind of going out on a limb here. And I'm sure it's a little unfair. But I think I will mention. No, I'm not going to say anything more about picking on them. But I will just say one thing. Now, if you're a Republican out there, and you don't feel this way, you're a human type person, happens to be a Republican, why? Don't be offended. Just try to get the general idea, it's just kind of something I'm talking about here that, is, I think, pretty real thing, and maybe not everybody is like all Republicans. You can't generalize it, but there's probably some Republicans that are really, really decent, hardworking human beings, and try to do the right thing and so on. And if there are, I hope I haven't, disturbed you too much or offended you too much. There's some humor here. As I said before, I'm, just a common guy, making some mistakes as I go along. So, but I don't mean to get you all riled up. I'm just pointing out kind of some basic realities of things. Okay, bye bye. Because I mean, if you look at Obama, look at him, just look at him. I mean, he's a clean guy. He looks like he has a clean conscience and trying to do stuff for people and things. He's not the powerful leader that we kind of hoped he might be, but he's very good at. He's a marvelous, apparently a marvelous kind of a facilitator, a kind of mediator. He's very good mediator. And they say, and I was realizing, I was telling son that, if we really looked at it carefully, when he was his history, when he was at Harvard, because the big story about Obama that I heard when he was at Harvard was that one of his classes, so they had their special clubs and their nifty, hoop clubs, and so, but those are material people, a lot of them, so they would get into, they didn't know how to behave very well with other human beings, so they would, get into big fights, and sometimes pretty rough stuff, and so they couldn't get out of it. So, but they knew about Obama, so they'd call him in, and he would mediate. He would somehow get them to kind of calm down, and he'd kind of maybe say, let's do the right thing here, and the right thing is this and this, and get them, behave like real Harvard guys, or I don't know whatever he said to them, but he said some, it's over my head, I'm sure. I mean, it's probably some, if you could go to some of those, get a transcript of some of those meetings, you'd probably be just, the guy was probably a knockout in that regard. But see, here's the thing. He never became, I don't think, I could be wrong, I don't think he ever became like the leader of that club or anything. He had an opportunity because he was kind of obviously a guy who was able to kind of get above things and get things straightened out. But he didn't. He didn't become. He wasn't a leader in that way. Maybe. I don't want to defame this. I'm not sure, but I don't think he ever did that. He just always the guy. They liked him because he would kind of calm things down and get them back together again every time they have a squabble or whatever. But as I say, he didn't become their leader, did he? This shows you right there that he wasn't going to be a leader. If he had an opportunity like that, to be a leader, lead men, lead people, we want him to lead us like maybe FDR did, start a big program of millions and millions of people building solar things for, having solar in everybody's home, or some kind of big, huge program. And, my idea was that the government would, give you solar, but you had to pay, you would have to pay your electric bill to the government. And, whatever your average bill was, you would pay that to the government once they gave you the solar. And I did a lot of calculating and figuring out. And I figured out how, because of debt and interest and everything else, this could work out over like 10 years. And everybody would be, the world would be looking at us that we all had solar, and it would take, millions and millions of people, maybe 8, 9 million people would be involved in the work, and other people outside supporting those. So lots of people, and the world would look at us and say, "Wow, they're a leader, and their economy's coming back, and it's strong, and they're almost 50% now have solar, and then it would go to 100%, and so it would be a big kind of cheerful thing for the world." But Obama was never interested in it, and or something. I don't know. He's interested in solar. See, yeah, no solar. That's good. See, let's promote solar. But that would be like if if somebody called me to a construction site and wanted me to help, and I'd say, yeah, sure, no, I can help. And they say, well, what, you know, do you have any new ideas, or do you want to kind of run this? No, I don't need to run it, but I'll contribute my ideas, and I'll try to help get good things done. Let Bob run it, whoever Bob is, you know, because then I would not be the leader. But of course, in my case, I am a leader, so I'd say, yeah, sure, I'll take it up. In those days, when I could, when I was doing stuff like that a few years back. Okay, so there's my whole big thing about what I'm seeing is going on here. Yeah, be careful if you're not like a material being. Um, you just can't get yourself to kind of give it all up for materiality. Why? You're going to be kind of, running around on your own pretty good, and you might get, winged. They take some shots at you, so be careful. Be careful. Okay, bye bye. I just wanted to insert this and say, because I don't want anybody to watch this to get the wrong idea. The solar program that I was thinking about involved, the government, borrowing quite a bit of money, and then, over gradually, step by step, paying out that money to, uh, like for instance, suppose you were a homeowner and you wanted solar. Okay, well, you would sign up a contractor, and that would be a group of like 5 people. No more, no big companies would do this. 5 people in a crew would come and install solar into your house, and the government would pay that crew. Okay, like $50,000, or maybe these days, maybe down to $30,000. They would pay them, and the guys would come in. They'd make a living wage, and there would be no profits. just just a good wage. They would go on doing that. Over the years, you can see it would take a lot of crews. Now the government would be putting out a lot of money, but right away, as soon as it started, the people that they had, you know, that had signed up, which would be just about everybody, because you could get solar for the same price. That, like, if you're paid, $100 a month for electricity, you could have the solar, and you would still just pay $100. Okay, so you would, but see, once you got your solar, then you would pay your $100 would go to the government. So the government would right away start getting an income feed to pay off that debt, and there would be other ways that they could pay off the debt through, increase. There would be increase in business. There'd be all the the tax from all the people who are working, and it'd be close, but if it was handled properly, it could be done. I'm almost certain of that, because I'm only so smart, and I can figure it out. I figured it out pretty carefully, how much everything costs, and interest, and the loans. And but I just wanted to kind of be clear that this idea that one of the ideas, there's others, but I had a good leader could have just come in here and gone, okay, you want work? I'm going to give you work. Here's the work. Here's what it's going to be. See, like FDR did. I just want to point out this is not like a bunch of government contractors doing this work and then the government's all like all involved in it. No, they would just come up with, they would borrow the money and give it to these little groups of 5 people who would contract. Once a house was, once a homeowner said, yeah, I want it, okay, or the apartment owner or whatever. And it would not be, some big bureaucratic nightmare or, kind of government taking over a whole industry. Oh yeah, and I just want to mention too, see, here's the thing, a lot of people think about things, and look at things and observe things. There's a bunch of them who feel like, it's a group of people, it's a conspiracy, it's a group of people that all have a certain agenda, and some other people are, more enlightened. No, it's not that. It's just, and I'm one of those. I want to be clear about something. See, give up the idea of thinking Jim over here has a plan for you, because he's not interested in you. He's interested in, because he's a material being, so he's interested in what material beings are, and that is, making more money, having more things, stuff. And so, wherever that takes him, wherever that might go, he doesn't care. He doesn't have a plan about you, because you're not, except kind of a general plan that, we'll have a big company and then we'll get people to make money for us. And we'll keep up the myth of profits. Profits are good. So we do profits. And but so as a material, because the material beings are kind of, as man kind of gets down into this place of materiality, why there's more and more material beings, and they have they've been here quite a while now and in power, and so they have more and more position. You can almost say like the material beings are pretty much kind of taking over the affairs of everyone and everything on the earth, not material. But it's just a lot of material beings. It's not a group of people who have a plan. There could be some, sure, but mostly it's just the way material beings operate. Every chance they get, they take a little bit more of your material stuff. See, so they can charge you if it's $5.50, they can charge you $5.55. Why they'll take the 5 cents, and they just keep doing that. It doesn't matter about being fair from the human point of view. It's just about they can do it, and they can fool you into thinking that it's okay, and that that you should buy more stuff, things like that. Okay, that's it then. That's gonna be